I find that New Mexico has become more and more of my second home in these past 20 years. And having been a special investigator for the late Dr. J. Allen Hynek, we would only learn after he would pass away that he was already dabbling into Roswell, something that I'll be developing a future talk on. But after he left Chicago, where IUFOC was originally founded in October of 1973, and after retiring from the University at Northwestern in Evanston, they moved to Scottsdale, he and his wife Mimi. And he was willed by the university, an old rundown observatory in the western part of the state of New Mexico. And after he passed away, we found all these handwritten notes in the classic, Hynek, verbiage, where he was interviewing ranchers, people out in that area, about Roswell. This would have been in the early 80s, right after the first book, UFO Roswell Incident, came out. And he kept writing, someone needs to look into this. Someone needs to look into this further. And we were skeptical. I was a complete skeptic starting on this case when serving on the board of directors at IUFOC for 10 years. And we thought we would make a single trip down to New Mexico and in a passing weekend conclude that it was nothing more than a weather balloon or something just as conventional, just as prosaic. So I always want to qualify that before I start anything, that I was a complete skeptic on the notion that the government could keep something of this magnitude a secret for so many years. And for the first few days, interviewing strictly third-hand witnesses, that appeared to be the case. A lot of hearsay. And then as we spoke to first-hand witnesses who actually handled the material, we walked away asking ourselves, how soon can we get back here? We realized we were potentially on, as I have become convinced, the biggest story of the millennium. Because unlike all the other UFO situations that are still waiting for the next encounter, waiting for the next photograph, the next sighting, we have it right here in our hands. It's something that the United States government took possession of, admitted. They put out a press release on July 8th of 1947, actually acknowledging they had captured a flying saucer. Historic fact. And within 5 hours, it was retracted, and it became nothing more than a weather balloon, as we all know. And any of us familiar with Roswell also know that they are now up to 4 official explanations. Like, take your pick. I always mention, any us husbands should try that with our wives some night when we don't come home early enough. You don't like this one, honey, try this one. But yet the government, with the willing accomplices in the media, and I can say that because I deal with the media every day, and that's how this subject is treated. I don't think any of you are strangers to that. It is a taboo topic. It is something that back in 1947, the United States government had to make sure that it had the media in its hip pocket. And I think one of the ways that was demonstrated was the way they even threatened the Roswell media at that time. They threatened to take their licenses away within 24 hours if they didn't stop the story. And also keep in mind, those of us of current generations, the military was God back in 1947, just 2 years after World War II. Whatever they said was automatically accepted. So whenever I hear someone say, well, that's not the way they should have behaved, that's not the way I would have treated it. Well, back then, we're talking about the greatest generation. Keep that in mind. These were people who knew how to keep a secret, how to keep their mouths shut. And when they were told, you say one word about this, we're going to threaten your family, it was quite evident that they were willing to protect their families even if it involved an entire lifetime.